Hello. I'm Candace Scalese. It's time for 21 Next with CBS 21 News. Today, we are with our investigative team diving deeper into the millions of dollars that have been spent on restoration at the governor's residence in Harrisburg and at his private residence in Montgomery. The residence in Harrisburg is after a man firebombed the downstairs area of that residence in April of this year. So we have some team coverage on this today. Tyler Jeski, our executive producer with the investigative team, and we have TJ Anthony too, who has been getting interviews and getting his hands on some of this information. So Tyler, I'm going to start with you because you've been following this from the very beginning. What new updates do we have about the amount of money that's being spent, and what have you learned along this process as you've looked into all the numbers?
So Candace, the big number today is $33 million. A lot of that's a lot of that's just on security upgrades at the residence here in Harrisburg and at his private residence, like you said, in Montgomery County. To kind of just break it down for everyone, how that money is being spent. It's $14 million on an outer perimeter barrier. Basically, state police said it's building a 10-foot wall, a new wall outside of the residence. If you guys live in Harrisburg, you travel down Front Street, that's the black curtain that you see there all the time. So they're building that. They've spent $6.3 million on cameras, lighting, motion detectors in the yard of the governor's residence. And they said that was needed because Cody Balmer, when he was there, some of the surveillance video here, you see him, obviously he got inside the building. Before he got into the building, state police said he was using foliage and plants and stuff in the yard of the governor's residence to kind of hide from state troopers. They spent $8 million on retrofitting all of the windows in the residence with bullet and shatterproof glass. That's because, as you remember, in this, again, a little bit before this video, this section of the surveillance video here, Balmer was taking a hammer and smashing windows. And then as the fire took place, the governor's residence didn't have a sprinkler system at the time. So they spent $4 million on that sprinkler system. So that's a lot of the money spent here in Harrisburg. And there's still a lot more that we don't know. Basically what happened was they've also made apparently a bunch of different internal technological changes that they couldn't disclose to lawmakers because of the governor's safety. So with you guys back to last week, here's how we got this information. What happened was a state senator, his name is Jarrett Coleman, he had sent a letter to the Department of General Services and the Pennsylvania State Police, basically just asking them for clarification on some stuff that they put out. So there were some procurement orders that said residences instead of just residents. So that's going, whoa, wait a second. What are we doing?
What else is being worked on?
It was 2 days later, State Police and Department of General Services put out this letter on Friday. They sent it to top lawmakers. I was able to get a hand on it today through some anonymous sources. And basically, it kind of happened from there. TJ is actually going to be talking to Jarrett Coleman later today. So that's kind of just how we've gotten to this. We've done a lot of work on trying to, looking at the restoration work. We know that $7 million was spent just rebuilding and trying to restore the governor's residence, and so it's just been a lot of money that they say needs to be spent.
And is this taxpayer money that's being spent?
Some of it, and then a lot of it is, yes, taxpayer money. There is some money that they've gotten back in terms, Candace, in terms of insurance on the building. I think, but that's minor. I think they've only gotten back like $1 million. So, Alexa, as you're scrolling through there, on the last page of the document, there is a statement that says on the third paragraph, basically outlining the reason why. The horrifying attack on the governor, his family, and the Commonwealth property coupled with the unfortunate rise in political violence across our country, has made these updates necessary to protect the governor and his family and ensure the continued operation of the executive branch of the Commonwealth. No family should have to live behind bulletproof glass or behind large walls, but the nature of the threats against elected officials today require us to take these important steps. And that's their reason why they say that this money needs to be spent.
Right. And to catch everyone up, if you're not familiar, when this attack happened April 13th, you saw the video that we were showing you earlier. A man named Cody Balmer broke into the governor's residence while he and his family were sleeping upstairs. I think there were about 20 guests, including children. And there were state troopers there too. He lit Molotov cocktails inside, tried to break into the governor's sleeping quarters, didn't make it through, and then he walked out a door later on. So that's the reason Tyler's explaining the bulletproof glass upgrades so no one else can break in, the high fence so no one can scale that fence, no car can go through, and then also you have more cameras and security to see if anybody is hiding in the foliage on the governor's residence here in Harrisburg. TJ, what are you working on? Because I know we have all this information coming towards us. So what is your focus today as you're learning more about this as well?
Yeah, so today I got to speak with a couple lawmakers about this. Many of them, of course, agree that yes, there needs to be security enhancements at the residence. They just want to know, where is that money being spent and how exactly is that money being spent? And we also did learn that through that letter that actually PSP, along with another outside resource, once the arson happened at the governor's residence, they also put in more resources to see if there's any security enhancements that need to be put in place at Shapiro's private residence in Montgomery County. So, and they actually did find that, yes, there are ways to improve security. So they said there will be adding barriers there as well as doing other things. They couldn't disclose a lot, though, of what they will be doing. They said it's because of security measures, understandably. But, we do know that $1 million will be put into securing Governor Shapiro's private residence. So, read over that letter, also spoke with lawmakers. And like I said, they do want to see these enhancements because they said, even, after Shapiro's term, no matter what side of the aisle the governor is on, whoever is living in that home, whoever's the governor of the Commonwealth, they need to feel safe doing that and being that public official in that sort of realm.
So it sounds like there's bipartisan support for spending this money, and the $33 million is kind of a shocking number at first. When you go through some of the money that's being spent and why, it makes it a little more understandable. But it sounds like we probably aren't going to know exactly where all this money is going because of the security reasons. Is that kind of the feel you got today speaking with different lawmakers?
Yeah, and they do understand that, but they're just like Tyler said, this kind of all sparked when a senator saw that through a procurement order that there was some sort of reference to residences. And so that's when that question sparked, and he was wondering, okay, well, where's this money going? So that's where that transparency kind of sparked. But before that, even lawmakers were curious about where this money's going and how much money is being spent as well.
Yeah.
Do we know? Sorry, go on, Tyler.
Sorry, the backpedal, the piggyback on TJ, that's been a theme for the last couple months now, is especially from the Republican side of the aisle. They understand that this is needed, but at the same time, they hold the purse strings. They want to know how that money is being spent. They say that we deserve to know how, us in the public, we deserve to know how it's being spent, and that it can be that there can be more than one thing, that we can do more than one things with this. We can know these things, and we can keep the governor safe. Has been their argument for the last couple of months. And then House Democrats out in the leadership, they've said, we trust PSP. They're doing what they need to do. It's much, I don't want to say much ado about nothing, but we trust they're doing their job. So it's been kind of a weird, it does follow. There's some partisan line there.
I will say what's interesting is I did get a chance to speak with a state rep out in Pittsburgh today at the Capitol. And she said she actually recently was at the governor's residence about a couple weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, for an event there. And she said she did notice enhanced security measures. She says there was a lot more checkpoint clearance that she had to go through. There were a lot more people there, just watching the area closely, just a lot more security measures that were in place compared to, before that arson attack.
Yeah. Have either of you heard if this is the final number? Do we know if there could be more spent as this continues?
I don't think this is a final number. I think there's still things that that will still be spent. I think you'll see more, like TJ said, he heard from that lawmaker, there'll probably be more state troopers there. So that, that's a number that will always be spent, just because you have to pay for, you have to pay salaries and stuff like that. So I think, I don't think we'll ever know the final. I don't think we'll ever know the final number. And I don't think that this is done. There's still, and there are still things. There were artifacts and stuff that were in the governor's residence and in those burnt down rooms that were damaged and stuff like that. A lot of those items, Candace, are being replaced by private donors, by former governors. And they don't have to disclose those funds and how much on some of that stuff. So there are going to be things that that the world may never know.
Yeah, sure. I know that there's still construction trucks outside, the front or the back of the residence. And I know that they're still doing work on it. So as they continue, it'll be interesting. And it really wasn't, it hasn't even been a year, right? This just happened in April. So lots happened since then. And I know the last time it was renovated was in 1974. So they didn't even have a sprinkler system, which of course we showed you the damage to the dining area and some of the other areas in that room where the fires happened, where those Molotov cocktails were thrown. And then TJ, in about an hour, you're going to actually be speaking with the state rep who reached out or basically initiated some curiosity about this letter. Is that correct?
Yes, I will be speaking with him, Senator Jared Coleman. Correct.
Okay, perfect. So we'll look for that on the news at 5 and 6 o'clock tonight. And then we have all this information too. If you want to look at the document on CBS21.com, that has been posted. Is there anything else, Tyler, you want to add, or TJ, before we wrap things up here?
No, I think what I would say is just that, we're going to keep asking questions. We're going to keep trying to figure out what's next.
Yeah, it has been a little difficult to get some answers too, because we have been asking for a while, like, where's the money going? What's it being spent on? How is the security being increased? Just as things progress. And we just recently learned that Cody Ballmer pleaded guilty. So he will serve time for that. He has not yet been sentenced. So we'll keep on top of that as well. But
25 to 50 years.
Sorry?
He was sentenced 25.
Oh, he was sentenced. Okay. Yeah, so that's finalized there. So now we just have more of the governor's residence. So we'll let TJ go because he has to prep for that interview. But again, you can head to CBS21.com. We have all the documents there. I just read through it before this. Very interesting too, if you're interested in how your money is being used and just the updates on the governor's residence and following this story too. So Tyler, thanks for your work on this. Thanks for joining us today. And you can always watch this again on YouTube and Facebook.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Y'all have a good one.
You too.